on that note, let's jump into Lightroom and jump into the Great Dismal Swamp. And I'm sure when I say Great Dismal Swamp, this is what you're all imagining. Uh, this is obviously a panorama. Uh, not this wasn't planned this being the first photo I edited, but I wanted that wanted to have that little reveal. So maybe it will be. This probably won't be too hard a photo to edit. But the Great Dismal Swamp is a fun fact is it is a national wildlife refuge. I've got all the brochures here because I was just there yesterday. Um, by the way, if anyone from the Great Dismal Swamp eventually watches this, this trail map that you guys have, my camera's not showing, but the trail information brochure, uh, put that on your website, please, with the addresses of all the trailheads. Like that was a strange thing to have to show up and then find in person. Put that on the website, please. But anyway, Great Dismal Swamp is the name and the location obviously has been there forever, or for recent ever. But the name of the swamp also most of the things about this place predate the founding of America. Uh, it was or not first surveyed, but it was surveyed by uh, by George Washington. He has one of the trails is called Washington Ditch, which is the like the hike I did and is named for George Washington, who did survey it with his surveyor, whose name, if I'm remembering correctly, was Gresham Nemo, which is just phenomenal. Like, we need to bring back the name Gresham as a first name. That's pretty great. Um, anyway, yeah. So this swamp has a long and interesting history going back pre the founding of America for uh, decades to the founding of the U.S. prior to 1776. Um, it was and then continued on being a hideaway for escaping slaves. It was part of the Underground Railroad. There were what were called maroon communities in the swamp. Um, and also fun fact, like Washington and his cohorts, I guess just white people across history have dug ditch systems, which you'll see some of in the photos I did. Um, Dug ditch systems to make the ground walkable and to give it to be able to get to this lake, but uh, in the process did a substantial drainage to the swamp itself, and now the naturalists and rangers there are trying to rehydrate a lot of it. They're trying to control how much water gets out of the ditch and into the lake as opposed to away from the land. So yeah, um, I'll try to sprinkle the facts in a little more like covertly as I edit. So these are photos. This is a photo from Lake Drummond. I'll play with this a little bit just because my usual thing. Gotta throw the sliders all over the place. Highlights. Yeah, we're gonna bring those down. We want to bring out all the colors or all the just. Let's see, shadows. Yeah, I can bring the shadows up a little bit. I'm gonna bring the blacks down just a touch because I like that it gives it that texture. There we go. Yeah. So this is Lake Drummond. It is. I realize I cannot hold this up and show you. It is a nearly circular lake right in the middle of that's the thing. Right in the middle of the swamp. It is the largest of the apparently only two naturally occurring lakes in Virginia. All the other lakes in Virginia are man-made, uh, and Lake Drummond is the larger of the two that naturally occur. It is, from what I understand, about 9 miles in circumference, which is about the same length of hike you have to do to get to it. And let's see, texture in the water, maybe not in the sky. Uh, it's about 9 miles in circumference, and all right, if I select the sky and then reverse it, that'll work. Uh, and here's two fun facts about it. Uh, one is they don't know what its source is. Um, they're like they don't know where the water comes from. There's no tributaries. There's the ditch system. Obviously, but that was dug post uh that was dug and designed post the obviously existence of the lake. Um, so yeah, they don't know what the source is for it. They also don't know specifically where it came from because it's really just this one circular lake in the middle of a big swamp. Um, the varying theories are well, I like brightening those up a little bit. Uh, dehaze it a bit. No, maybe a little, maybe just a touch. Makes it a little more interesting. Gives it that kind of, I don't know, beautiful gloom. So I'm gonna pull this out a little bit. Kind of lighten into that S curve in the sky. I'm gonna do something with that. Um, yeah. So yeah, there was. So yeah, not sure exactly where it came from. They don't know the source. The theories on what the where this lake actually came from. Let's do a brush. There are three theories I've heard for where this lake came from. One of them is I'm not gonna worry too much about the bottom. I'll get that in a sec. Um, one of them is that it's the crater from a meteorite. Um, one of them is crater from a meteorite that turned into a uh, that just filled with water and turned into a lake. Um, let's subtract with a linear gradient so we can get rid of the what's down here. There we go. Yeah, so crater from meteorite that filled with water and thus lake. Another theory is that there was a something started a fire there, which is very likely given uh, you know, it's a forest in the middle of a lake, or forest in the middle of, big chunk of forest. Lightning strike starts a fire, and cool, that works. Now we can play with some highlights. Um, uh, so yeah, lightning strike starts a fire, and the the trees burn down to the sand, so there is nothing left, and so you end up with the lake. You end up with this crater. Why the fire would have stopped in this shape, we don't know. Um, so that's the second theory, and the third theory is that uh, it was the first one of the First Nations theories that it was the nest of a firebird. So a thunderbird, firebird kind of you know created its nest in the middle of the forest and burned away the trees, thus creating the space. So that's the interesting fact, but that we don't know where this thing comes from. Uh, the other, there we go. That's a start. Actually, what if I just bring down the blacks? There we go. The other thing about it that is interesting is that this lake, like I've said, is it's about 9 miles across. Let me see the mask on this guy. Let me move this thing out of my way. Um, like I said, about 9 miles across. However, it is. I'm trying to let me see the stats on how big this lake is. There we go. 3,100 acres is the surface area of this lake. Largest natural lake in Virginia. Um, formed about 4,000 years ago. The theory in here is the fire. The fire burned it away. Um, but interestingly, it is so 3,100 acres of water. That lake, on average, is 3 feet deep. That lake, like at its deepest, it is 7 feet deep. Really doesn't, uh, really doesn't get too deep down there, which is kind of cool. There we go. That's something interesting. Okay, gotta pull that off of there. Let's say subtract brush. Get this off of here. There we go. Cool. All right. Hey, Shelby Lynn. All right. I think there's something else I want to do with this. I feel like there's not quite. That's better. That's something. Yeah. Let's see the overlay here. This bigger. Let's bring the flow down a bit. Let's clean that up a little. Yeah, there we go. Go back to here. I can add more like that. A little bit of texturing there. Cool. All right, so that's going to be our first. Let's see, let's close out the masking window. Yeah, I think that's going to be our first image of the swamp. I kind of like that. I actually like that a lot. Uh, Also, fun fact: when I was working on this, I had to. So I had taken. So the way this photo happened. Let me go ahead and rate that. So the way this photo happened was I'd taken a bunch of images that looked like this. That were just kind of, turn the camera sideways and just, turn in place as I took these photos. Lightroom was having issues merging all of them, so what I ended up having to do was creating multiple different panoramas. Kind of, this is like the beginning, the panorama of the first view, this is a panorama of the second view, here's a panorama of the last ones, and then merge them to get this. So sometimes you gotta fidget with Lightroom a little bit, but there we go. Is that too texturous down there in the water? Maybe a tiny bit. This is 67%. Wow. What is... That's 6%. What's 12%? Okay. Let's just look at okay. Lightroom, behave. Thank you. That water might be a little bit too texturous. Let's go ahead and grab this mask here and bring the texture back just a bit. Something like that. Gives you the texture, doesn't quite distract to the same degree. Cool. All right, that photo is done. Now, let's talk about the swamp being a little more dismal. Uh, so, thank you, Shelby Lynn. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. And that was I wanted to start with that because yeah, you hear Great Dismal Swamp and the thought is, oh, it's going to be gross. Um, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it's got its moments. Let's find a photo to work on. But let me tell you my favorite thing about this swamp. I'm going to start with this photo. Is you've got these ditches. Actually, I'll start with this photo here just to show you. So this is the trail we were on. You just kind of a lot of the trails are mostly just straight lines, maybe a couple zigzags, but for the most part, these aren't windy trails. These trails are all very much man-made. So they're all straight lines and geometric angles. Every angle is a geometric angle, and when you look at the map, which you can't find online, uh, it all feels very, someone laid these trails out with a protractor rather than letting nature do some of the work. But anyway, so yeah, it's a long straight path, but the ditches look like this. And the cool thing is because these swamps have so much peat in them, the uh the water is very filtered and very clean. Apparently sailors when used to fill up their water barrels in this swamp, and some stories of them filling up water barrels and then selling them at higher prices because the water here was filtered through the peat and was so clean. But it also means the water is dark. So you end up with reflections that are these very dark silhouettes, and we'll see a lot more of them as we go. Here's another one. Um, Like that's as bright as the day was. Yeah, with the sun out, that's what the reflection looks like. You know, but these very dark reflections. Uh, you get photos like this, which is the next one I'm going to work on because I've been wanting. Because this is the, yeah, this photo just catches me. I want to try one thing. I'll try flipping it over. Yeah, I like that. I'm at least gonna edit it this way. I'm not sure I'm gonna keep it this way. I'm gonna edit it this way. All right, first thing I want to do is rotate it to line that up with the bottom. There we go. Let's see, I'm gonna pull this in a bit. Let's see. I want this photo kind of be about that reflection. Uh, phone check. Yep. Okay. It's 5:45. It's when all the night spam calls start or spam texts start coming in. Let's see. I kind of got to keep it on that angle. Okay. So let's bring this in a little more. That's what you think the correct angle is. Okay, you know, I'll let you do that for now because I'm kind of okay with that. Because I want to be able to get the top of these trees. That's actually important to me there in this photo. Let's bring that over. Could balance it to the side. Pull it in like that. Yeah, now it becomes about the center. I like that. Got a little bit in the corners, a little bit tiny bit down there, and everything else is the photo itself. Cool. All right, so we'll start with that. Uh, all right. Let's see. And for what it's worth, if you look up at the metadata up here, I mean, my histogram is low because there's a lot of blackness in this. There's probably nothing clipping. That's interesting. I didn't actually clip the blacks, which is good. Um, I'm shooting at f8 and at a 40th of a second, so I'm not cranking. I mean, my f-stop's up a bit just because I wanted to get texture, but not ridiculously so to the point that it would darken the image a lot. And my shutter speed's fairly low, and my ISO's decently high. So the uh, so yeah, this is closer to this photo hasn't been like you know like unnecessarily darkened in any way. Oh, that's kind of cool. If I zoom in 100% here, I pull up the texture. Maybe not. I thought you were, yeah, some spots you're kind of pulling out like this little guy, this little ripple right there. You're sort of pulling out you're pulling out the details of the water, like some of the ripples. I'm gonna leave that alone for now. Uh, could bring the blacks down. Don't really want to. Like I honestly I like the way this photo is exposed right now. Uh, bring the whites up. Highlights up seems to be doing the job perfectly fine. Okay. I think in hindsight, I'm gonna flip this photo back upside down. I like the idea of standing on the edge, looking down and seeing that world below you. That to me was something that I got, and you don't really get that from the other side. All right, let's play with some color, mostly because I want to make these guys pop a little more. Let's see, make the yellows pop. If I pull those down, pull the oranges. I don't know, a little bit of orange up is good, and the yellows down a little bit. The yellows are affecting kind of a little bit of the area, whereas the oranges are affecting more just the needles. Let's stick with orange. Stick with orange. If I pull up blues, that's going to be in the sky. And I don't really want that. I enjoy the desaturation here. Uh, aquas, a little bit in the sky, actually. Tiny bit in the sky. Let's bring that up. Just there's a little bit of color. It doesn't feel like I completely desaturated. Greens aren't existent. Reds, a little bit. Let's bring them up. That'll give us the contrast between the yellows that like I wanted some detail, but beyond just an brightening up all the oranges. I like having some kind of contrast in there. Uh, and if I can't get it with orange with yellow, I can get it with red. So we'll do that. I'm gonna bring the blues up a tiny bit. There we go. If I bring them up like that, let's see the oranges where they are. Could bring up the yellows a bit. Don't really want to. The reds, that's worth That's not really doing anything for me. It's not really changing my feelings on the photo. Okay. So yeah, that one's not too bad. I think I want to readjust my crop a little bit though. Something about this is let's reset that to 0. Yeah, if I continue out a little bit here, just a little bit of dark there will give me that arch. It's not quite perfect, but it'll be nice and symmetrical. I can get that archway in and get that really get that depth in there. Let's go undo that. We don't want to rotate. Go to there. Yeah, that is pretty good. Yeah, I think that's where I want it to be. I like that a lot. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and rate that one. And so that's a glimpse at what kind of the what you're walking alongside with this whole swamp. Now let's play with some more photos. Let's see. Some of these I just took because I liked them. Some of them I took. That's another shot of just of the path. So you get the pathway is just this straight, not quite gravel, but like some of it's gravel, some of it is just sort of track. But you can see there's clearly been these were all designed. Uh, yeah, these pathways were. That's probably another reason the pathways are so angular, is because they were designed because we had to get carts and equipment and stuff down here because we were digging this ditch. So all of them have those 2 lanes for the wheels that have of course been adopted by park maintenance vehicles and stuff. Let's see, what other photos do we have here? Ooh, you know what? Hang on, there was this one here, maybe this one or this one. We're gonna work on these. I don't know why I kept that one. Let's remove that one. There's a couple of these I can remove that I took because I thought they were kind of like framing wise were kind of cool, but photos I'm not really gonna do anything with. Let's go ahead and remove those. There we go. Remove photos from Lightroom. Cool. Let's start with this guy. I want to see if this one will actually work. Uh, this one's one I do need to rotate. And let's see. Why am I doing this? Reset that to 0. Crop this in. I was like, I took a landscape photo because I wanted a landscape photo. Why am I cropping? Or why am I changing that? Let's come here to get this guy centered. There we go. Let me come in a bit here. Some interesting warping going on here that I like. My question here is that dandelion gonna show up? Let's find out. I think so. I think we can work with that. Playing with the usual intense batch of sliders. Good. And texture. Let's see how our focus looks. That is workable. We're gonna have some fun with this one. All right. So did we clip? Not real amazing. I thought I clipped the sky on this. I was didn't clip the darks. Okay. So first things first, I need a circle. A perfect circle around my dandelion. Let's zoom in so we can work on that. There we go. So about like that. We're gonna make him smaller. A little bit like that. And the feathering like that. There we go. Cool. So step 1 with him, texture, clarity, dehaze? Question mark? No, not yet. We'll get there. Clarity, I think all the way up though. I want to really make sure we capture him because he is the subject. Cool. Uh, we can adjust the highlights and shadows and details in a sec. That's gonna be a different thing. Yeah, whites are gonna be in the sky. Okay, cool. So that's step 1. Uh, Step 2, let's come back, let's zoom back out. Let's start doing some global adjustments. Let's turn that off. Step 1, I want to bring the highlights down and the whites. Actually, just bring the whites down a little bit, not much. I'm gonna do clarity in a more specified way. I'm gonna do dehaze in a more specified way. I'm gonna leave texture alone. Texture right now is not important. Um, let's see. You are gonna be a small problem. Let's see what we can do with you. Let's go to the healing brush. We'll try content aware removal here. Which issue are you? You're okay. So around there, we're gonna go real small. We're just gonna see if we can move this dude here. Get this guy all wrapped up in a little bubble. Let's see if we can get rid of him. It's pretty good. I can live with that. Cool. Let's bring this down. Let's do it again to kind of get rid of the stem. Manipulation of nature. Very wholesome. Let's see if we can get rid of these guys here. Perfect. All right, cool. Now, I'm going to do something with this guy over here, and he's going to be a little more complicated. A little bigger. Start with that. That's pretty awesome. It's nice about things being out of focus is you can you get a little more leeway with that. Let's get that. Yeah, nice. This little nub here is a bit of an issue. We'll fix that real fast. All right, now we can definitely get everything up to the dandelion. We'll start with that. There it goes. Now the question is, can I get rid of the stuff on the dandelion? Let's find out. We're going to come in even tighter. We come into 300%. No, let's go into 200. Didn't want to do that. 200%. All right, bring this down. I want this to be as small as possible. That is not bad. I'm actually really happy with that. All right, let's get this last little segment here. All right, if I turn that off, there we go. And the photo is now about our dandelion. Some small stuff you really zoom in, but you're not going to notice. All right, cool. Awesome. Let's continue on our work. Let's do if I tell it to select the background, what are you going to give me? Okay, what the hell didn't you select? All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna remove that mask. We're gonna do this. We're gonna duplicate mask 1. We're going to reset all the values. So it's just, right now, just a mask. We're going to, let's see. Let's do how do I want to do this? I tell you to intersect with a background selection. What are you gonna give me? Give me that. Okay, not necessarily what I wanted. In that case, let's invert this. Start with that. And then intersect with the background. That is better. Slightly. It's giving me a little bit more of this. Let's subtract the brush. Let's just gently get this stuff here. Let's get the stem. not doing a whole. I don't think I'm doing a whole lot color-wise with this, so I should be able to get away with. Yeah, should be able to get away with this move. We'll see. See how annoying it gets about it. Okay, cool. So if I do that, now I can bring down the texture. Could bring down the clarity. Kind of don't want to. I kind of want to keep. I enjoy the. Let's bring the shadows up. That's not what I want to do. I'm gonna do those individually. Come back to that. All right. There's something about it being like that, being low contrast that I do kind of like. Bring the highlights down. We've already done that, though. I don't want to do too much more. Bringing the texture down was the real thing. Clarity down is gonna. Now you lose that the cool reach that they have, which is important. Bring the blacks down like that. That's cool. All right. Now let's do another mask. I tell you to select the sky. What are you gonna give me? Gonna give me all the whites. You gonna give me the trees as well. What do you got? Okay. Interesting mix there. Let's do it. All right. Let's start by inverting that. That's better. Okay. Now we're going to subtract the brush because I want to get rid of. I don't want to need this. I want the stuff that's below the tree line. That's all this. I want this stuff to go away. I want to get rid of whatever's on my dandelion there. This stuff here. Let's get down there. There we go. That's better. Kind of get rid of that haze around the edge of the forest. And now we can bring those shadows up a bit and let that kind of have some color to it. I like that. I think that's coming along pretty well. Highlights up as well. Blacks down a bit. So turn the mask off, turn it back on. Turn that one off. Cool. All right. That is not a bad piece to keep working on. Let's take a look at this mask here. Yep, we're gonna work on this one, guys. Turn this mask off to get you to behave. Let me adjust this mask, please. Thank you. I'm gonna widen this just a little tiny bit. There we go. Now I can turn this back on. And we take a look at the overlays. Yeah. Let's see. Let's close the masking section. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Come down here to color. I'm honestly about to convert this image to black and white anyway, so I'm not sure why I'm playing with color. Yeah, in black and white, this photo is much better. Much better. All right, let's come down to our sliders here. Blues are in the sky. They're gonna come. Yeah, they're gonna come down. Does have some interesting fringing though. Aquas, not really existent. Greens are in the ground. Greens are gonna be up. We like greens up. Yellows are gonna be everything else. Yellows are gonna come down. Not enough to lose detail, but enough to come down. There we go. Oranges. Let's see. Do I like oranges or yellows? I bring the yellows up. Yellows are more of a kind of general wash. Oranges up by themselves, it's still kind of a wash, but a little more targeted. Ever since we bring in the yellows down, the oranges up just a touch. There we go. And then the reds, not really existent. We'll do rage with the purples. Tiny bit in the sky, we'll bring those up. And the magenta is really not doing anything. Okay, cool. Let's see. Can up the clarity just a touch to give it that little extra basing of contrast. And do I want to change my crop at all? Or am I pretty happy with this? take out elements that distract from my subject and distract from the emotions I'm feeling about my subject. And I think this one being a little off center is actually better. I think that gives you kind of that tunneling effect. I like that. I like that honestly a real whole lot. You okay over there? Ah, the phone escaped. Gotta be wary of those post-snap phone escapes. All right, let's take a look at that. Now I want a little more of the grass. There we go. Yeah, that's a good look. I'm a fan of that. You get the flower or you get the dandelion. And you still get everything else behind it, and you get kind of the that cool sense of them growing together. Set the rating. All right, did a couple others. Same type of thing. I like this one. I like being able to have the width there. So cool. Okay, let's move on to some swamp reflections because that's kind of what I originally wanted to make this stream about. Let's see. Here we go. I did a panorama going up. So let's create that. Let's put that together. So we're gonna do typical photo merge. I'm gonna drink some tea in the meantime. Well, that looks really wonky. You know what? Let's before I do that, I always forget to add a profile correction on this guy. All right, profile correction. There we go. Without and with. Yeah, flattens it out a little bit. Helps with the merging. Let's try this again. And then we will adjust projection styles. All right. So that's cylindrical. Perspective is going to be that. And spherical is going to be what? Let's see. I think cylindrical is the way to go right now. If I do boundary warp, that's better. Getting there. I need to crop it automatically. What are you going to do? Take boundary warp off. That's what you want? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. No, I'm going to undo that. Let's do a quick check on edge filling. That's going to look weird with this because that's the wrong kind of thing for this kind of detail. And you're going to give me a weird, yeah, you're going to need some weird overlap stuff. So we're going to skip that. We're just going to warp the boundaries. Take a quick look if I tell the perspective to do that. All right, perspective, cylindrical, spherical. Yeah, cylindrical is the way to go. Cylindrical's got more of the, yeah, definitely warping, but I can play with that. I can lean into that as the photo. Let's merge. Which means we start skipping. Yay! All right. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's working on that. While it works on that, I'm gonna work on one of these. A couple of photos from the end of the hike. This is, yeah, much later in the day. There we go. Our panorama is complete. We'll come back to that. Man, that's gonna, yeah, this photo, yeah, this photo's got some darkness in it, and I do not want to take that away. I want the texture to stay right where it is. Let's I'm gonna bring the clarity up and the texture down. So you keep some of the, you still, I don't know, I want to bring up the individual distinctions there. I want to kind of keep it as is. So many options. Uh, let's try this as a 1-to-1. To about there. Now we can unlock that and extend this as high as I want to go with it. I do kind of like going all the way up with it. I really do. Now in hindsight, yeah, let's pull this down as far as I can go. Okay, cool. This one immediately, I actually don't need to be putting masks on this yet. Immediately I know that I want to vignette it a bit though. Yeah, I want to vignette that around the edges a little bit. Yeah, the reflections at this place. That's the thing that was so cool is they were so, because it was black, they were so crisp and sharp. I really loved them. All right, we're gonna bring the highlights down and kind of get to see what's in the sky. Move the blacks down. We're gonna bring the shadows up a little bit. The black's down, so we get the darker areas of this can brighten up a little bit. You get some really nice detail in those trees there. I honestly kind of like that. I kind of like having a little bit of that in there, even though it's going to be noisy as all get out. Though bringing the texture down helps. Actually, there's surprisingly a decent amount of detail in there. I'm going to keep this. This photo is sort of turning into something. Oh yeah, we're going to do one of those because I can't not do one of those. All right. I could dehaze it a little more. I could undehaze it. If I pull it back a bit, am I getting that's bringing in noise. Let's leave that where it was. It's gonna be noisy anyway, but let's leave that where it was. All right, let's do a. Let's select the sky. Actually, I might want to do this with a color mask. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. Something about this photo. It's so simple. All right, that's good. That sky selection is very good. We're gonna add a color range down here, and we're gonna pull that back. Pull that way back. There we go. Cool. So if I turn off the color range, all right, and then we're gonna do a subtract brush, and we're gonna get rid of everything up here. I'm gonna move this in a sec. Get rid of that. I'm gonna put this brush there. Actually, I'm doing this completely wrong. Let's stick with this. Color range intersect with brush. That's what I need. So that I can get rid of it up here and let the sky be its thing. There we go. Cool. Like that's intersecting the whole thing. What am I doing? Yeah, we'll leave it as this for now. So I'll keep, because the important thing, now that I've got this, is I can keep this as blue. And I can do a duplicate and invert, so I can get everything else. I can push that a little more toward gold. I can bring those. There we go. And now I can do a subtract brush because I do not want it down here in the water. Subtract all that. There we go. Don't want it down there. Don't really want it up here. It's gonna be a lighter brush. The more I look at it, the less I like this. The less I like that masking job. Yeah, I think I'd let this photo just kind of have this. Yeah, I think I'd let this photo just kind of have its blue. Nothing going on there. Yep, I think this photo just needs that. Sometimes you experiment and you find it doesn't work, but yeah, no, this photo is Shelby Lynn. I'm glad. I'm really. I love when you say you find photos that are poem worthy. We gotta do another one. We gotta do another one of those. Another photo collaboration. But yeah, this photo just the blues are where it's at, and I could throw this to black and white, but it's not. For some reason, the blue gives it that mood, and there's little bits of color in here. There's little bits of detail in that darkness that I really love. That photo didn't take much, but let's save that. That is good. Let's come back to our panorama that we did back here, which is somewhere in here. There it is. There it is. All right, cool. This crazy warped thing. Let's bring that in. Let's crop it in a bit. Don't want to rotate. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, Stephanie, that's very much that's kind of what I found. That's what I found a lot in the Great Dismal Swamp was a lot of like you start off expecting it to be kind of sad, and then as you explore it, you start finding beauty, which is great if you're a nature photographer. That's what you're looking for. All right, this photo I'm loving in all the weirdest ways. Uh, there's something so strange about like this. Yeah, there's something about this that I'm really loving. That I want to try to keep the simplicity of. That's a cool thing about this swamp is that there is like you'd think like back in the woods would be dark, but because of the water, the darkest stuff is the reflections. So you can have these wonderful you can darken these reflections down and have these wonderful dark moments to it, while also still having detail in the woods themselves. All right, let's stick with that one. I like that. I'm having a lot of fun with the black and whites in here. Let's take a look at some more reflections and pick out one to work on. 'Cause I took a bunch. Another panorama. It is. That could be wonky as heck to work on. I'm gonna stay with that. I think I'm gonna come down to one of these. Let's look at this one. Okay, that was me doing a high dynamic range shot, so let's work on that. 1, 2, and 3. Cool. So let's grab all 3 of these and do an HDR render. Hit auto settings, what are you gonna give me? That's pretty cool. Let's start with that. So merge. Uh, yeah, that's a wonderful thing about uh kind of playing with photography and playing with your eyes is that naturally for the most part our eyes go to the brightest point. Our eyes first look for the brightness. Um, but if the photo is so overwhelmingly dark, darkness is the thing we see first. And if that and then you have to kind of look for the light and it when you look when you know and then all of a sudden aha you're suddenly on a journey looking for hope and great like we got you at that point you're now trying to you're not looking for things to make the world better. All right, let's bring those down. I'm going to do this individually. Highlights, yes. Whites, eh, yeah. Kind of shadows coming up is a good idea. Blacks down, also a decent idea. Clarity up, because I'm a fan of that, but I think I want to do that more individually. Dehaze, same kind of deal. Texture, also same kind of deal. Texture, I'm not sure where I want the texture. I think I just want the texture in the water. So let's do a couple of things. Let's do a sky selection. Yeah, Shelby Lynn, I've got one of those that I'm thinking about. I'm gonna pick that out in a sec. Sky selection, excellent. Let's go ahead and clarity that up. Let's get some texture in there. Bring the texture down on it though. Cool. All right, now let's do a new mask with a linear gradient so we can get some water in here. Come up to there. Actually, you know what? This might be better as a color range. I think color range will get me what I want easier. Something like that, and then I can subtract the brush and get rid of the whole sky. Let's get rid of all of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Get rid of all of it. I just want the water. Get little bits of the grass in there. Cool. And I'm going to crank up the texture and dehaze a little bit. Bring the clarity up, put the dehaze back down. A little bit of that. A little more saturation. Bring up those blues. Good. And now, keeping that brush out, I can subtract this stuff here and this stuff here, but that looks horrendous. Let's do a better job of it. Let's do it by dropping the flow down a bit and just kind of remove it that way. There we go. Those little tiny details. Let's now crank the flow back up. Zoom in here. It's going to be a saturation issue. We can work on that in the next section. Okay, let's come back to here. Dehaze the sky just a touch. Give a little more of that chaos in there. Yeah, Shevlin, believe me, I spent most of the day looking for a spot that I was like, I can get the perfect reflection and flip it. I think I've got one to work on. I think I've got the perfect one. But right now, we're going to play with some color. All right, let's desaturate that. now. Leave the oranges where they are. I can push the yellows to green. Don't really want to. Just to see what I can play with. Yeah, leave the reds where they are. Purples. Okay, a lot of purple in the water. We're going to bring those down, and the magentas as well. I want them out of my way. Let's see. Blues. Nah, maybe a little touch of blue, but I actually kind of like it. Kind of like the bleakness of it. Greens. I don't know. Again, another photo. This one might just be better for best in black and white. It's kind of where I'm at right now. All right, so we're going to bring the reds down. Purples down. Actually, no. Purples down. Magentas down. I want to bring that down. Maybe if we bring the yellows up, that pulls out the detail and we can leave the oranges where they are. I'm actually going to push the oranges a tiny bit toward yellow. Not much, just a little bit. And I got to get where's my sky mask here? What are you showing me? Nope, okay. If I take that mask and I push the temperature a little more toward blue. Oh, I do like that in black and white. I'm gonna table this one for now because I want to move on to another one. But I'm gonna come back to that. I don't dislike it. I want to find the moment for it. Another good one for reflections. A couple good ones there. But now we get to the end of now we get out here to the water, and there's one I want to do right here that I just like a photo that just captivated me. This one here, because this is just camera sort of down at the water level, but the ripples on the water and the leaves floating in there made for such a beautiful image that I want to adjust. I don't need to do a whole lot with this. I don't think. Actually, ooh, that's strong dehazing. I know I overdo bright colors or strong colors. I am actually gonna desaturate this, or at least brighten it up a bit. Bring those shadows up. There we go. So that's not turning into too much of a thing. I'm gonna bring the. But yeah, there's something about that just. This one just felt like a painting. Like I said, I really love this. Just love this composition more or less as is. It's actually not bad. Uh, all right, I got both of you writing about my photography. I am. What did I do? What did I do to deserve that treatment? That is awesome. Uh, Finding the right balance here. There we go. And just yeah, the color, what's in the water there is so pretty to me. This is like in black and white. It's very different black and white. I think this one needs color. I think this one certainly needs color. I'm gonna come down here to the oranges and desaturate them a bit. I don't want them as strong as they are. Bring the yellows up though, because that gives me a little more contrast to it. Reds, oh, a little bit more even. So let's bring the. There we go. So it fits in a little more. I can bring the blues down. Oh, I don't know. I like them as is. Okay, bring the reds up. It brightens that up. Let's put the saturation back on the reds, even on the yellows too. Yeah. Uh, and I absolutely love. Absolutely love that you can see, even though this is noisy, you can see the reflection of the leaf in the wake there. That to me is that's so freaking cool. Uh, it is so freaking cool. And yes, yeah, okay, Shelby, yeah, Shelby and Stephanie, you will both. I can happily send that photo to both of you. Um, and I am sorry that Texas is currently colder than Virginia. That is, I feel like you want proof the world's turning upside down. There you go, right there. Okay, let's bring the vibrance down just a touch. I want this to be soft. I want this to feel gentle. And the contrast down a little bit even. There we go. Bring the whites up a bit. There we go. Yeah, I love this. This photo is just, it's simple and it's gorgeous and I love it. I'm going to do a second version because I want to see what it looks like if I crop in just on those, just on these sleeves. So I just make it more about them. Point that it almost feels mirrored. There's something gorgeous about that too. There really is. I'm going to set both of these as threes, and actually the second one I'm going to come back to them so that it's a two. Okay, let's play with reflection a little bit with, I think, one of these photos, uh, which are shots of these trees that are obviously out on the lake. Let's see, that one's currently my favorite choice, 52. Let's see what else, 53. Maybe on that one I could do something with 54 or 50. Yeah, 50. Let's see. Then I got these guys that I do really like. Let's flip them. Nah, not as cool. Let's come back here. Let's look at 54, 53. Let's look at something like this, which would be kind of interesting. Absent context, but that just, I don't know. I think the flipping the whole tree is the better option. So let's do this one. Start with our crop, as usual. Pull that to there. Cool. Rotation looks pretty good, actually. We'll do clarity and a wave kind of coming through. I think dehaze as well. Texture we can certainly bring up for now. I like that. Let's see what we can do about clearing out some of this other stuff. If I tell you to get rid of all of this, can you do it? Can you clean that all up for me? Doubt it. Let's see what we get. See how good this AI tool is. Not quite good enough. Okay, never mind. Let's come back to this. Could crop it out, or I could just keep it in. Cropping it out means going like that. Okay. This photo might end up getting turned sideways. Or end up being a really tall, thin print, and that's kind of cool too. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. It's kind of barely touching the edges on each other. I'm gonna extend this up a bit. Cool, so we're pretty much centered. Good. Alright, so now I can zoom in and I can clear out this thing here with not too much trouble. Little circle. There we go. Spot there as well. Yeah, no, Shelby Lynn, I'm considering that. I'm considering doing a version of that, doing something like that. There's a couple of them I could do that with. Let's keep working on this one for now, but I like I may do a version. Cool. All right. So let's do a couple of masks. Let's start by getting a sky. I'm curious if this thing will catch that the sky's upside down, or if it's gonna give me the sky at the top of the image. Hmm. All right. You know what? That is useless. Get rid of that. Let's try this. I'm not sure. Not entirely sure I need a sky mask, but let's do this. Let's do reflections here. Let's do that, which will be our reflection. Let's do a duplicate and invert, which will be our more normal tree. Cool. And so for the normal tree, bring the highlights down. We're going to dehaze a little bit. Get some more of that sky in there. Gonna bring the saturation up a bit, just to get some of that in there. I think I'm probably gonna remove this middle section, or at least weaken it a bit. Yeah, let's do a new mask, brush. Brush, the only thing you can adjust the strength of so far. Set to 50. To the overlay. No, no, I don't want a brush. I want a new. I want a subtract brush in here. There we go. Density at 50. Let's see the overlay. Cool. And now I can just take away, kind of bring this whole section here to half strength, which will be good. Go lower. Oop, go higher. There we go. Cool. So if we turn that off, there we go. Now we're still getting the trunk, but we're affecting more of this stuff up here. Highlights up. Clarity, you can stay where it is. Texture. Yeah, I want that to feel refreshed and real. I like that a lot. All right, let's go to our mask on our tree up top. And that one's getting clarified. That one's getting detail. Come back to this one. Let's bring the texture back down. Yeah, oh, let's do it that way. Let's absolutely do this. Okay, put that back. Dehaze a little bit because I like having the texture. I like having the texture and the color in there. It's good. Saturation up because we like that. Uh, yeah, let's make it look like that was properly exposed, but let's put all the detail and everything into the reflection. The is the real one here. Let's do that. So clarity and texture are all the way up on that one. Let's see. Ooh, that would be a very cool tattoo, Steffi. Let's see. There's shadows up, so that feels more properly exposed. Bringing the blacks down, so we still get that darkness kind of right at the tip, because I love that. Let's leave the whites alone. I'm going to extend this gradient so it's a little more of a, yeah, so it kind of wipes across a little bit like that. There we go. That is so cool. Let's also desaturate a little. Let's see if I, yeah, let's desaturate that one. Let's keep that darker. It's kind of cliche to have that, but doing it this way, man, I love this photo so much now. It's great. This is coming along so well. All right, let's come down to our colors here. Bring our blue saturations up because that looks good in the sky there. How noisy is that? Not super. Okay, that's pretty cool. I can actually, continuing on, this mask, let's denoise. Uh, See, that's interesting. Shelby, I love that. It's funny because I'm looking at this and like seeing you think of yourself as the dark twisted version, but if you look in a mirror and see your reflection, there's a brighter, there's a brighter side to you, kind of thing. Take the sharpness down. I might be a bit leaning into the effect a little too much, but not. Uh, let's see. Not the worst thing in the world. Okay, back down to colors. Red's not really a thing. Oranges, I always overdo them. Let's go up a little bit with them. Let's keep the yellows where they are. Aquas, a little bit of aqua in there, but not enough for me to worry about. A little bit of purple in the sky, though. That's pretty cool. Magentas, not really existent. All right, cool. And then luminance, let's play with that. Let's bring the blues down, bring the purples down, so they really start to envelop that tree. Yeah, this is gonna get so noisy, and I don't care. The oranges, let's keep them bright. Yeah, cool, cool, cool. Let's come back to this. There's my linear gradient here. Nope, not you. You. That's what I want to mess with. Extend that and extend it down. Cool. To that mask. Actually, come back to this mask. Desaturate it a little more. Do that. And then I'm going to add brush, a lower density, to just try to smooth out that line there. Cool. There we go. Yeah, this one's good. This one's very good. Gonna mark that as done. I love it. Uh, okay. Going for an hour and 10. I'm trying if there's any other photos I really want to edit other than just when we crop out the ground. There's a bunch of others that I took that I'm like, I wonder. Like this is kind of cool. Where's the original one of those? Is that this one? Might have been. See what we got. See what I can find that really as like a last image or two. Let's see what I've got that really exemplifies the world of this place. Here's our cool stretch perspective there. Something about this place is you get that kind of feeling of the I don't know, in some ways it's certain moments evoke or evocative of the scary stories to tell in the dark kind of image. Ooh, you know what? Let's do this. We're gonna play with this one. This time I actually I want the grid because I want to make sure I get this angling right. Still feels a little bit, yeah, it needs to be something closer to that. Somewhere in the middle. Somewhere between these lines the truth lies. Find it. right. Alright, for once I'm gonna bring the highlights up and just let there be highlights and the whites up. 'Cause I want for once I want that whole top section to be just totally I want that clean. I want the detail in the reflection. Uh, I could do this with saturation. My first instinct is to do it, but I'm gonna try this in black and white in a sec. I want to come back to that. So now we're gonna come down to color because color is where I want to start with this. I'm starting with the luminance on color. So I'm gonna bring the oranges down. Actually, if I bring nope, bring those up and the oranges down, get a nice contrast there. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. Reds, not really having an effect. They can stay where they are. And then the blues we're gonna bring down. So we want that contrast. Aquas, sort of blues up a bit in saturation, up a lot in saturation, because that's gonna also increase the darkness of them. Could desaturate up there, don't really want to. It's not the worst thing in the world, actually. Let's desaturate the yellows a bit. So I can get some art in there. Ah, get back here. Okay. But the balance of this seems a little bit off. Let's bring this in a bit. Yeah, it should be something closer to that. Yeah, just that arrowhead pointing that direction. I really love, and I love the starkness up here. All right, let's do a couple of masks. Let's do a linear gradient. Super simple, straight down the middle. Just a tiny bit of wiggle room for a fade. Just like that, come down here, straight down the middle like that. Now we bring in the texture. Now we bring in some clarity. Now we leave the clarity where it is. Now we dehaze a bit. There we go. Bring the contrast up. Bring the blacks down. Let's bring the shadows down. Hmm. Now they've each got to be their own different version of brightness. I got to leave the brightnesses alone on there because the subject of this is that shape and that reflection. So this one's got to be a little bit bright but detailed. And this one will do the duplicate and invert. And this one will bring the texture down. Bringing the clarity up doesn't seem to hurt this side, 'cause this side has so little detail. Dehaze would hurt it, and taking the dehaze all the way down definitely hurts it. Makes it just that. Okay, I can push the colors a little bit that way if I want to. Uh, yeah, yeah, there is something sentient about this photo. It is more symbol than it is photo, and I see it too, and I love it. Um, I did take a picture of a deer with its antlers, by the way. That I didn't actually use. Hang on, let me pull that up real quick. Just a cool thing. So I can pull this. There he is. All right, and we're back. So yeah, got a picture of this guy. It's not in focus, so it's not a photo I want to use. It's also not, you know, I might actually go back and use it. It's not, the focus isn't the sharpest thing in the world, but I do kind of like it. But he's got a whole vine wrapped through his antlers there. And we did make an effort to get close enough to him to let us help him out there, but he didn't let us get. I mean, I think this is the closest he let us get, and I was on a 600 millimeter lens at this point. But so yeah, maybe seeing him kind of brought me into like, deer with antlers there. Maybe that's what I saw. All right. I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna play for a second with these transform tools because there's a little bit you can do with them. I'm gonna try to compensate for that balance. I'm not sure I'm gonna get what I want. Let's see. Auto aligning's helpful. That's good. Though it kind of yeah, let's do that. It's helpful. Makes me see the deer a little clearer. Let's come back to here. I'm gonna crop this down a bit and let it be more about that symbol in the middle. That helps. Cool. Better images. Man, this thing is noisy in the best way. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So that photo is in good shape. Let's do a duplicate and do a black and white version. Because I can't not, because I see it in black and white. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to back down to our color sliders here. Have our blues down a little bit. Our yellows up. This masking will all be the same. Just sideways now. So lower the contrast up there. I don't know. Now I take it back. If I bring the blacks down a bit, it does make that stand out. Let's keep it like that so you do get a sense of what it is. Yeah, I don't know which one I like better, but I like both. So cool. I think I like the color one a little bit better, but we'll see. I'm gonna come back and take another look at them. Let's see. We played with this one already in this photo, which looks phenomenal. I think I'm liking that in black and white more and more. It's got a nice fine art photography feel to it. Thank you, Steffi. All right, let's do a photo. Let's do one of these where we crop out the land and just do the reflection, because that was a gangbusters idea. Now I'm just looking at my favorite reflections. I think it's this one. I really like how wonky that one is. The black and white. Okay. I think that's a pretty good endorsement. How does I flip this one upside down? Nah, I don't have the full scope of it. It's gonna be one of these. Yeah, I think it's which one is it? Which one is it? Reflection wise, which one grabs me? Let's go with this one. Yeah, take it back. This one. Flip it over. Let's crop. Photo like that. There we go. Here we go. All right. Clarity and texture. Tell you what this reminds me of. This reminds me of the let's do a mask. Let's do a linear. This reminds me of the art that I saw up in Ketchikan, Alaska. The some of the Haida and Klingit influenced artwork up there gave me very similar vibes to this. And I think that, like just the there I don't know. I can see. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way to say this that doesn't come across as like ignorant white man, but I don't know. There's something about this that in just speaking for myself, speaking entirely for just my own experience, looking at the designs of some of the the totem poles and the Native American artwork in Ketchikan, and then looking at some of the design work here, I see, or not design, I mean design work sort of like the reflections. I see a similar a s- I get a similar feeling. I get a similar feeling of it's like an artistic reflection of the world, an artistic and a yeah, it's just something about it really. I see it and I'm like that's what this reminds me of. I see a face in there, I see an eye. That is yeah, there's something about that is definitely drawing me in. And I love this. Duplicate and invert so we can work on the top. Can bring the let's say highlights up, saturation down, saturation up, saturation down, saturation stay kind of right there. Um, I did a lot of this on the other side, so I'm gonna leave this kind of as is for now. I'm gonna do a there's no way this is gonna work. Luminance range. So dark grays, it's gonna give me everything, and then I want to pull the blacks out of that. Just get the water for the most part. Just so that I can denoise it. Not to that degree. I can darken it down a little bit. Yeah, there's something cool about that. There's something really pretty about this photo. Extend my crop a little bit out that way. I want it centered, but I want a little more space. This weirdly, like I'm looking at this right now and I'm feeling, I wonder if I can do this. So I can just do a flip. Yeah, that one looks better. For some reason that it feels, I feel like I'm looking at a plant that that sort of is growing a face, but it's all a reflection. That is so cool. I cannot describe how much I love that. Let's leave texture to the mask up there. Up the texture there, take the texture down on this one. Yeah, leave it where it is. Cool. Close the masking. Let's come down to color for a second. There's a whole lot to do with color. Mary Lisa just joined from the couch. Yes. I didn't hear you snoring, so we're probably good. Seems like people are excited to have you here, which they should be. You're exciting. You're aware that you're an exciting person? Yeah, because you got to get up and ready for that nightlife. Stream related question? Okay, then we'll hold off till stream is done. Uh, let's see. I'm sitting here playing with sliders, not really changing a single thing on here because I don't really need to. Like brightening, I'm not playing with the yellow slider really at all. It's not doing anything. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what else I want to do with this photo other than just kind of love on it some more. Bring the contrast up. Let's go back to that mask there. Back to this guy. Uh, bring the shadows up a bit. There we go. I wanted a little more brightness in that. There we like the darkness up on the edge, but that's needed a little more there. Let's go down to our vignetting. And that's not vignetting. Let's transform. There's vignette. Just pull a little bit of a vignette around it. There we go. Ooh, it looks good. We'll come back to our... Could do the same thing where I bring up the saturation on the bottom one. I think I'm going to do a little bit of that just so you do notice it. Can't really do much with color. But yeah, a little bit of saturation there. Yeah, just that little bit of saturation, that little extra gives you do notice it. It's not it's probably not the first thing you see when you look at the photo, but it's do you notice it. Uh, I mean, you're partially sleeping during the streams because I'm streaming late at night. But yeah, okay. So let's set that at 3 stars. A little bit, yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay, so come to our filters here and filter by stars. There we go. So here are the photos that we've done. We've done 12, which is good. Uh, so thank you, Steffi. That's very nice of you to say. So we got this one that we kind of started with. Uh, oh, to do this one? I can do that. I can do a quick duplication. Do a copy and just crop that up. Just like that. Shall we, Lynn? Is that what you're looking for? Check my masking on this because I know I did. What? That could be kind of fun, couldn't it? Let's go to this mask and let's denoise it. Cool. Hey, this one makes the healing brush more obvious if I do it that way. Let's get that and leave it alone. Hey, Jeblin, we're going back. We're going to click through these photos till you tell me which one's which. Is it this one? Is it 50? This is 51. This is 53. This is 54. That's 59, and that's 60. Which one? Which one? Which one is your squiggly Christmas tree? 51. Gotcha. Figured that might be the one. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and set that to 3 stars because I'm going to work so I can come into here and just kind of sort it out. All right, let's flip and crop down to there. You know what? Yeah, now flipping this upside down, I see what you're talking about. I understand. Shovelin, I totally understand. This does have a very this tree does have a very Santa hat kind of vibe to it. I see what you're talking about. All right, now I should be able to just take the 2 of these. I don't get to do this very often. Let's go ahead and sync. And let's sync. Let's see. Check all. Not the healing and not the crop. Uh, synchronize. Get out of my way. All right, that doesn't look too bad. Let's adjust to where our masks are. This guy. Wow, okay, that's actually pretty spot on. Cool. There we go. Down to color for this one just for a second. We're gonna push the colors over there toward green. Push the colors toward green and the yellows toward green and the oranges toward red, uh, so that we get a little bit, so we can feel a little bit Christmassy. Yeah, I think it's better toward green. It looks pretty good. How am I doing noise-wise? Horrendous, but I'll survive. I can live with that. Let's come back to here. A duplicate and invert. Just that luminance range. Don't want the whites in there. There you go. Subtract brush. Okay. There's our squiggly Christmas tree. So, 'tis the season. All right. So, with that all said, let's click through these one more time real fast. Started there with our, yeah, looking down at the ground and into the sky. Uh, this dandelion, which I still might be my favorite of the group. No, take it back. I know my favorite. This is my second favorite. Um, this one, which, yeah, uh, the I said blankets. I'm reading the chat. Uh, this one where we've got that panoramic effect gave us that cool bubble and everything kind of reaches into the center. Gives us Kind of an eyeball effect. I wonder if I crop this down to the center. That's cool. Let's do two versions. Let's do one like that, where you get the reach and you get the height. And then let's do another one where we crop it down to almost to a circle. So something like that. Kind of an even balance top and bottom. Again, interesting that you kind of see more depth in the ground than you do in the sky, and I like that. You are welcome. Shelby Lynn, I will always create squiggly Christmas trees for you. We got this one, which is our deer skull. Not sure which one we want to go with there. Though I'm leaning toward the color one. The color one's kind of doing it for me. I do want to. Did I do a? We did masks here. I do want to kind of push this a little more. Something a little more like that, as opposed to. I don't know. Hmm. I don't just like that. I don't just like the blue being that strong, but I also want this to be a little more subtle. Let's stick with it as is for now. Uh, this guy. So you got the black and white version, got the color version, got this one here, which I am liking more and more in black and white. Needs a little more detail done, but I'm happy with it. Uh, our squiggly Christmas tree, our kind of squiggly creature reflection. This one, that is my favorite, absolutely my favorite photo of the group. Uh, this one that is the cropped version of that, which is getting 1 star. Our leaves floating in water, that is just a study in lines. The Lake Drummond panorama that we started with, that kind of gives us. I'm gonna go back to that mask I was doing and tweak it a little bit more because I couldn't quite get it right. Now I feel like I'm a better editor right now. That second mask, let me see the overlay. Uh, bring up those highlights. Let's bring up the whites. Not that much, kind of middle ground. There we go. Uh, and then it's a good point, Shelby Lynn. That's actually a very good take on it. Let's open up this mask. Back to our main brush. Add brush. Where's my mouse over there? Undo that move. That was too much. Add brush. There we go. Get that to kind of taper up to that point. Almost like a big sky whale. I can be convinced to have a sky whale in the photo. I like that sky whale. You can crank the exposure a little bit. That's going to be too much. Now you want some subtlety in there, just a little bit. Go back to the subtract brush and see if I can get rid of the stuff down here, which I never can because these brushes layer and that's obnoxious. Let's get rid of that. There we go. So just the sky. Cool. Let's do. Debating if I want to try something with this. I do a duplicate and invert on that mask. I'm gonna get that. let's get rid of that. Gonna get rid of that mask. Stick with what we got, which looks good. I'm gonna do one quick thing because I have an idea that I really kind of want to do. It's never a quick thing. And then the other photo we've got is this one, which we like. Has a nice, yeah, nice filter. I'm gonna go back to here and do that and play up those blues a little bit because I do agree Shelby Lane gives kind of a day and night sort of feel. It's a little much, but I don't want to overdo it. But a little bit's not too bad. Yeah, a little more there. Cool. All right, let's jump in here real quick, and we're gonna open up Photoshop because I want to see if I can layer that top down onto the water a little bit. Kind of lean into to that look. Close our picture of our deer here. All right. Let's see. We're gonna update this later. What do we got? Next. Come on, Photoshop, work with me. I forgot I updated Photoshop recently. And of course, it's loading the picture while it tries to give me notes, so it gives me, show me all the new stuff. There we go. Cool. All right, so we're going to take off the background. We're going to make another layer. We're going to edit, transform, flip vertical. There we go. Now we're going to, that's an insane overlay. Let's go back to normal. We're going to go ahead and remove the stuff we don't want here. Starting with a marquee tool. Nope. Normal ratio. There we go. And with our marquee tool, we're going to come up and get everything that's not like that. Layer mask it. Masking that off. Cool. We're going to invert that. Sweet. So that looks ridiculous. I'm going to turn this one off for now. Going back to our mask. We're going to go to a brush. We're going to brush some of this stuff off. We're going to get rid of this up. What's my hardness at? Let's bring the hardness. Nope. Yeah, I want the hardness low. We're going to remove this stuff. Just remove that dark edges there. Get a nice soft edge going here, just like that. There we go. Cool. So now we've got our sky whale. We can turn this back on, and that's starting to look like something. Uh, yep. Yeah, no, it's just how it goes. Could go with a burn or a multiply. That's actually not bad. Going with multiply. Take it off, take it back, put it on. Cool. All right, I do want to remove these clouds over here. They're not doing much for me. It's mostly about the shape. I can kind of refine it a little bit. Oop, that was a bit obnoxious. So multiply is pretty good. Darken's actually better. Does it take away too much? Yeah, darken gives me nothing. Okay, let's get rid of that. So, what does overlay look like? Overlay's too much. Soft light's pretty good. I'm actually on board with soft light. And then I can just take the opacity and drop it down a bit. Like that. So, yeah. With and without. I'm actually going to put that edge back over here because I like that. There we go. Cool. I do like having that darkness in there. Maybe a little bit less. There we go. Cool. So that gives me that little bit extra, shaping down there, and you kind of get you get a better reflection of a more defined reflection of what's now in the sky. Uh, oh, you guys are so sweet. I don't know what I'd do without you guys. All right, so let's save this. say the only person complaining about more Eric time is Eric because Eric was meant to be off this stream like 45 minutes ago. Because I'm supposed to be off shift right now. Um, but I'm not complaining about spending more time with you guys or more time editing photos. Because now we're sitting waiting for Photoshop to save. Uh, Responding to your message that I'm just getting now, yes, definitely cool with that. Yeah, I'll message you. It's important for my professionalism that we keep the important stuff that's happening on stream and about art and about photography on live, and the less essential conversations about ramen stay in a private consultation. Uh, I probably spelled 2 out of 3 of those words wrong, babe. But all right, so that's been saved. So now we can close Photoshop down and come back into Lightroom. And Lightroom, because it's awesome, will auto update. So there's the new version, there's the old one. So the new one gets it. Yeah, don't worry, Shelvin. I trust you not to tell anybody. Okay, so with that done, I'm going to come back to me for a sec. Or Streamlabs will freeze. One of the two things will happen. One of the two things always happens. Uh, and yeah, thank you to my partners, to my friends, to anyone who watched and joined and was part of this. Thank you for coming with me on this trip to Great Dismal Swamp. Um, and all the yeah, visiting this cool and interesting place. I may be going back there. There are other trails to do. There's a couple of wildlife, like there's a wildlife drive and a couple of boardwalks I want to check out. Hmm? Oh, okay. A couple boardwalks I want to check out. There's also, and it's going to drive me nuts, if you look up Great Dismal Swamp, there is a picture that you find in every single one, and it's this shot of Lake Drummond that my camera is almost going to focus on. And part of me is like, I want to keep going back till I find this photo, because I have no idea. Like, I went to two of like the big spots, the connecting spots to Lake Drummond, and did not find it. So I'm gonna keep going back till I find those fucking trees. But in the meantime, we found some awesome trees today. We found some really cool reflections and did some really cool photography work, and yeah, got to hang out with really cool people. And I can't complain about that. So thank you very much. Thanks for being part of this. And yeah, we'll be back. Yeah, we'll be back uh, either later this week, depending if I do a late night stream, or early next week. I'm gonna try to do a daytime stream before we get lost by the Thanksgiving holiday. So with that all said, be safe, be well, keep creating art, keep sharing what is amazing about our world with everyone else because those reminders are great. And sometimes remember that you're not always your reflection, and there might be better and brighter or more dark and more complex versions of you uh, just around the corner, just in the mirror. So on that note, stay safe, be well, keep making art, and I'll see you next time.